let's talk about urocortin. Urocortin is a hormone. Specifically, it is a peptide hormone, so it is made out of a long chain of amino acids. Now, the main function of urocortin is as a stress hormone. It has been shown when administered in rodent studies to decrease appetite, to increase kind of stress and anxiety related behaviors, as well as a couple other things. Now, while that may seem like a bad thing, we do need stress hormones. It helps with regulation of a bunch of different bodily functions, as well as help with our fight or flight response. But this one has a lot of other spicy, loud-ass cars. It has a lot of other spicy functions as well. Now, we're gonna have to put a trigger warning for the rest of the video because some studies in rodents have shown that it actually causes an infanticide response. Now, this up here is galanin. It is another type of hormone that acts pretty much kind of opposite and in tandem to urocortin. Now, each of these chemicals has a specific set of neurons associated with them. There's the urocortin neurons and the galanin neurons. And when stimulated by their specific hormones and signaling molecules, they have, again, kind of opposite responses. When the galanin neurons are stimulated by the presence of galanin, it kind of turns on the maternal instinct response. It changes behaviors in mammals to make them more nurturing and more motherly. Now, this doesn't just happen in female animals. The study was actually done on male mice. Typically, male mice are quite aggressive and infanticidal towards newborn baby mice, but when the galanin neurons were stimulated, they became quite, again, motherly. They would build nests, they would take care of the pups, and they, most importantly, would not kill and eat them. This does happen in both male and female mammals, or at least mice and rats that were studied. The presence of galanin turned on the maternal instinct pretty much. Now, urocortin, this guy up here, does pretty much the opposite of that. Now, these two neurons are basically connected, the urocortin and the galanin. While one is on, the other is off. So, by turning on the galanin neuron, the urocortin is turned off, and vice versa. And if the urocortin neuron is stimulated, it does not cause the parental behavior. It causes quite the opposite and stimulates the infanticide behavior. Now, you may be asking, why on earth does this urocortin neuron exist? Why would there need to be an infanticide response? Well, in nature, and I guess in society too, it is very, very taxing to raise babies. If it's not a good time to raise an entire litter of, again, for example, baby mice, then it is very advantageous to the female to have the urocortin response instead of the galanin response. Now, it's not known still what the exact triggers for one over the other are, but likely it is environmental conditions such as water availability, food availability, and a bunch of other factors like that. So, for example, if there was, say, a drought, and there was a female mouse that happened to be pregnant during the drought, but there was definitely not enough food around to raise babies, and the mother was in a state of starvation, instead of having the galanin response turn on and the mother put all of her resources into raising these babies that probably would not survive anyway, the urocortin response turns on and she will, in most cases, eat the litter herself in order to gain sustenance to be able to produce a much healthier and more likely to survive litter in the next breeding season. So instead of having a very sickly and weak litter of which maybe one or two will survive and most likely the mother would not survive, the mother is more guaranteed survival to produce a healthier litter where more of them would survive into adulthood. Now, I mentioned this in mammals, but it's only present in about 60% or so of mammals. Other species, including primates like humans, have different responses. However, we do have the same urocortin and galanin neurons present. They're just not, activated or functional. This is due to the fact that humans and other things like elephants and some types of apes do not for the most part, kill our children and eat them. We do have different hormonal and chemical regulations for stopping the infanticide and promoting the parental behaviors. It's a lot more complicated than the galanin on, urocortin off, urocortin on, galanin off thing. However, we do still possess the galanin and urocortin, not hormones, neurons, oh my god. So by studying these responses in animals that do have the functioning urocortin and galanin responses, we may actually have some insight into disorders such as postpartum depression. Since we do still possess these neurons but they're non-functional, there is research being done into postpartum depression and seeing if there are any drugs or medications that can block the urocortin hormones in hopes to treat this postpartum depression.